Lovely evening to everyone if you present here. I, Pasang Sherpa, with my co-host Aadarsha Tiwari and Partha Sharma, are here for our first anniversary podcast. I can't stress enough how fun this
Okay, podcast session.
has been for me and my co-host. Your warm reception and critical criticism has turned us from a fascist, rainbow-pilled Nazi communistic idealizers to just three normal dudes having normal idealistics. Once again, a big thank you to you, yes, you, our listeners, for making this anniversary a real thing and not just a dream. By saying this, we would like to transition towards our main topic of the day, and that would be role models.
Just as a model is something that represents an inspirational ideal, a role model is someone who inspires others to imitate his or her good behavior. For instance, parents try to be role models for their children by doing good things.
Personally, I really like Warren Buffett. I find him to be extremely motivating, not just because of his speeches, no, but just for his work. He is my role model.
I do admire Buffett because Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Pixar, which revolutionized the movie industry, and Apple, which did the same for tech industry, is a different beast. The respect I have for him is off the charts.
Here's the man Stephen Hawking. He suffered 50 years from motor neuron disease, lost his voice, yet still one of the brilliant theoretical physicists in the history.
So, you guys have stated who your role models are. So, now I'd like to ask you a very simple question. What made them specifically, your role model and not other normal people? For starting with Parth Sharma.
So, Pasang, you lost your voice. So, me and others will be continuing the podcast.
कौन सा other?
Okay. What if the thing I said was real? What would you do?
तो NBC तो पूरा मलिक ही था.
I tap porn. Okay. Well, Stephen Hawking is definitely not like you. He's something different. You'll know about this later. Okay. So what we can learn from is the main thing is self-respect. Like what he tells us is we should never let the bastards get us down. Always we should always remember to look up the stars and not down at our feet. We should try to make sense of what we see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious, and however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It matters that you just don't give up. Professor Hawking accepted his fate, but never ever let the bastards get him down, and neither should you. The next thing we can learn is gratefulness. Like Hawking never took anything for granted and never felt the fate of his own life or of our universe was anyone's responsibility but his own and mankind's, and felt grateful for his life and the opportunities he had to study the cosmos. He also said that no one created the universe and no one directs our fate. This leads me to a profound realization that there is probably no heaven and no afterlife either. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe, and for that, I'm extremely grateful. Yeah, so others would like to continue.
Now let's talk about Steve Jobs. Perfect word to describe Steve Jobs would be innovative. Steve Jobs, along with his team, was entirely contingent on themselves and their feelings to develop revolutionary products. Steve Jobs was never satisfied and kept trying endlessly for something better than before. He strongly upheld his belief in stay hungry, stay foolish. What he wanted to say by the term stay hungry was that one should never be satisfied with what one has at the present moment because there is always a chance to make things better. The term stay foolish was used by him to tell everyone around that if you always feel that you are foolish enough and there is still a lot to learn in life, you'll always be better than a day before. Moreover, I believe that there is no such thing as impossible. So just because someone hasn't ever tried something new doesn't mean that even you can't. So people don't consider yourself erudite as the moment you create an illusion of knowing everything. Your growth stops right away. Rather, you must remain down to earth and feel as if you still need to learn a lot. This foolish thought of not knowing much will always help you delve into things. so your own growth will be unstoppable. Innovation is needed, the key to success, and Apple justifies it clearly. Steve Jobs' company was the first one to replace a 5-inch floppy disk with a 3.5-inch floppy disk, and it was Apple which got rid of the optical drive with the Mac player. It was indeed the first company to adopt USB. It was Apple. Steve Jobs wanted to get rid of the keyboard and replace it with a multi-touch display, and we all know how Apple works. He wished to have an elegant design and a simple user interface, and he successfully got his vision implemented into his products. He was against the approach of Microsoft, which runs its OS on multiple platforms, and so he reduced his software to run on Apple products. To sum up, he worked with a vision to have control over hardware as well as software. Do you know that the concept behind Mac is not origin? Steve Jobs had the concept of a visual-based OS called Xerox Pair, and he used the same concept and produced the original Mac, though he did make enhancements.
Uh, Lovely points. Now I'd like to bring up Warren Buffett. So, if I had to define him with just one quality of his, that'd be honor. His ability to say and actually do what he says is something that's very profound. Buffett, like, he promised his parents that he'd be like a millionaire by the age of 36. A very big promise that a very big promise for someone who came from absolute nothing. So what actually happened was Buffett was never from the richest. He actually was from a family that was suffering from debt, and that was mostly because of the Great Depression that had occurred just before he had been born. So what had happened was, in Buffett's family, his like father and mother, they had saved up tons of money, but all of these money were like completely gone the moment like the Great Depression hit because the bank closed itself. So all of their money and all of the assets that they had, they were taken away as well. So these guys, they would have to work tirelessly day and day just to keep or just to be able to feed themselves. One's mother would even skip meals just so that her husband could have a full portion. This taught Buffett at a very young age the value of money in itself. And what his father would do is that he'd actually buy gold coins and silver plates as a form of investment because he learned from his previous mistake that he couldn't trust others or like normal or he couldn't trust businesses that are like assets that couldn't actually make money or actually have a physical asset in itself. So this taught him that he should always invest in physical assets and productive ones too. It taught him to invest in assets that actually were strong, reliable, and at a stable value as well. And the thing is, Buffett never lied. He actually did what he said. He actually became a millionaire by the age of 30. That's almost 5 years prior to the date he stated. And I believe that is one great quality that a Buffett has. And by saying this, I'd like to now shift the focus to Steve Jobs again. I believe that Steve Jobs has really inspired a lot of people and most definitely changed the world for the better. So, Aadarsha, what do you think like teenagers should learn from Stephen Hawking and also Steve Jobs?
There are a lot of things you can learn from Steve Jobs. After reading his biography, out of countless things I have learned, here are some of the most notable ones which can help change one's life. And the first, the first thing I learned is one should learn to love what he or she does. Steve Jobs loved what he did with a passion. Even after he was fired from Apple in the early years, he realized that this was what he really wanted to do in life. We too should not defect from our path, and our persistence will pay off. The other thing is, we should not be afraid to take risks. Steve Jobs knew that by developing the iPhone, he was going to make the iPod obsolete. He knew that it was a risk, but he also knew that the mobile market was really lucrative, and he wanted a slice of that. Being brave and going against the tide are all parts of taking risks. The lesson taught by Steve Jobs was that other people's opinions and rules must never be thought out plans. Qualifications are not everything. Steve Jobs actually never graduated from college. He discovered and taught us that what really counts is to have positive mindset and how you nurture your skills. Paper qualifications are important, but they must always take second place in developing our skill. Money should not dictate your project. Jobs wanted to change the world and put a ding in the universe, as he himself put it. His projects were all designed to create amazing products to make the world a better place. Making money was not his primary aim. And he's a very valuable. Here is a very valuable lesson. If you making profit without worrying too much about giving value or in helping society, then perhaps we should rethink our objectives. The other thing I've learned is we should cut out or avoid the bozos. Bozos are incompetent, stupid, and negative people. Steve Jobs had no time for these people and got rid of them when he could. They are like weeds and they'll also hire like minded people. They will have a negative impact on morale. Even if you are unable to fire them, we can make strenuous efforts to have as little to do with them as possible. Surround yourself with positive and upbeat colleagues who will inspire you. And the last thing I've learned is to keep things simple. When the engineers were developing the iPod, Jobs insisted that there should be no buttons at all, and the only button would be the on off one. The engineers were skeptical to say the least, but Jobs would not relent. Keeping the whole operation simple was essential to this and many other projects. In the end, the scroll wheel was developed and is still a feature of IT today. We can learn from Steve Jobs that laser focus can sharpen our mind and help us to prioritize. Now, and now I would like to ask Parth the things that one can learn from.
Yes. So the main thing that teenagers can learn from Stephen Hawking is that give zero fucks. My expectations were reduced to zero when I was 21. Everything since then has been a bonus. He stated. Uh, Hawking was diagnosed with a motor neuron disease at the age of 21. Our doctor told him he had about 2 years to live. He could have given up on his dreams right then, but he didn't accept that. Uh, don't live your life according to someone else's standards and don't be a prisoner to the opinions of others. Professor Hawking teaches us to give zero fucks and write our own story. Anything is possible. Like, and second thing it teaches us is always stay curious. Uh, he never stopped looking for his problems to solve, no matter how much was going on in his life, and he overcame tremendous health challenges. He never ever quit being curious. And the thing that we are seeing as a major problem nowadays is underestimating ourselves. We should never underestimate ourselves. Hawking had always tried to overcome the limitation of his condition and lead as a full life as possible. He traveled around the world from Antarctica to zero gravity, even with the disease. So if you give up, your life is doomed. So Pasang, what is your IQ score? Do you have any idea about that?
I believe it to be around 500,000, bro.
Well, then you are a loser. It's not me who is saying this. It's Professor Stephen Hawking. According to Atlantic, when a New York Times reporter asked Hawking what his IQ was, he replied, I have no idea. People who boast about their IQ are losers. So, you know why I'm saying this? Exactly as this, a similar type of attitude should be carried, and we must work on things that are straight and to the point. If we start getting into superfluous gobs, then we are done. Our life loses its goal.
Okay, okay. Good points made. Uh, the thing is, uh, the thing is that a lot could be learned from Buffett as well. Buffett is not just a rich man. You can actually learn tons of things from him. So I read a book upon his biography, and I believe it has been life-changing. So the main like five or four things that I learned from him, and I'll list them down, are resilience, honor, not wasting opportunities, and playing by one's strength. So I'd like to explain each one of them. Resilience, because Buffett actually was sort of tricked into buying Berkshire Hathaway, which was actually a textile company at the time. The thing is, it was actually a booming business, which was actually leading the textile like whole market, but the textile market was failing. It was severely failing and on the verge of dying. But like the CEO of the Berkshire company at that time actually agreed to Buffett in buying the whole company. But at the last moment, when the deal was about to be signed, Buffett realized that that cost which the CEO would buy the company was severely decreased in the contract. This made like Buffett extremely mad. So he bought like most of the stocks of Berkshire Hathaway, and he actually took over the dying business in itself. The thing is, when you're having a straight up dead ass business, what the only thing you can do, the only thing that most people would do would probably just cry themselves to sleep and actually just do nothing and just freeze. But what Buffett did was he moved around, he maneuvered around, he actually used all of the lessons that he had learned from a very young age, which had taught him how investing should actually work. and all these teachers' learnings, and he put them all into practice. By doing this, he actually made Berkshire not a textile company anymore and more into an investing firm or an investing firm where they would invest in companies that are actually doing good. So what Buffett did was he actually invested in different companies, and leading up on to the second point, which is also not wasting opportunities. What Buffett actually did was he merged or he allowed for a deal to happen between a ABC company, which is like a big media company, and Capital City, which is a very small, like not that small, but this company is around one fourth the value of ABC in itself. So what actually happened was Capital City wanted to buy ABC company, but as you know, being one fourth its value and actually not having a lot of clout in itself, this deal was sure to never happen. But Buffett seized the opportunity and made it so that he would get 25% of both companies' stock if he could actually make this deal possible. And so he did. He made this deal possible, and he actually allowed for ABC company and small capital and Capital City to actually merge into becoming a bigger company itself. And he actually, this also teaches us a big valuable lesson, that is to never waste our opportunities. Most of the times we don't even know what an opportunity is, but whenever we do realize what an opportunity is, it'll obviously be too late. And the few opportunities that we do know that are occurring or happen in front of our eyes, we most of the time just blatantly ignore it. So what Buffett teaches us is that we should never waste our opportunities. This is the same opportunity that led Buffett to becoming a millionaire that he stated that he would become at the age of 36. So it was this opportunity, the small opportunity that came like one, not, it's not even a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's like something that frequently happens. It even frequently happens in our lives where we get opportunities, we get invited to places or places where a lot of people are, activities that our friends want to do. These are all small opportunities that could actually greatly benefit us, benefit our lives, and actually improve our quality of life as well. But most of the time, all we do is sit by ourselves, sit in our comfortable bed, and play video games, play Valorant, play Mobile Legends, Bang Bang 5v5, all unproductive stuff, and we are wasting our opportunities. But Buffett teaches us to not do that. And the other thing also is, and I'm going back to my previous point made, which is honor or keeping our promises. Buffett main the main thing I learned from Buffett is actually to keep our promises. Most time in his life, he said that he'd do this thing and he'd do it, and I believe that is extremely commendable. Uh, People that actually keep their promises are not just attractive, but are actually very sought out for. When you're when you have honor or when you actually keep promises, I believe that you are able to become a greater person totally and completely as well. You'll have a holistic, you'll when you are able to keep your promises, you'll be someone that people can trust. So I believe that Buffett teaches us a very valuable lesson in that as well. And his other biggest lesson, which was to playing in one's strength. So Buffett was super good with pattern learning. He would roam around the street, go around vending machines, picking up bottle caps. This allowed him to figure out which company of soda did better and which flavor of soda would actually sell more. So you can see that from a very young age, Buffett had a very great mindset, that he knew how to play by his strength. He knew that pattern learning, and he knew that pattern learning was a big part of stock market, and that is where he went. So we all don't need to be like Buffett. By reading up on his story, it's not like completely fixated into, oh yeah, become a investor, become rich like Buffett. It is more about playing into one's strength. So let's say you are very good at drawing, fam, be an artist. If you are very good at singing, be a singer. If you are very good at music, be a musician. If you are very good at doing something, do it. So I believe Buffett teaches us that as well. And I believe that is all that Buffett has us to offer. And I believe we are closing in our time as well. I would like to thank all of our audience for being such a wonderful people. This has been me, Pasang Sherpa, your host for the day, and I'd like to thank you all for your time. It has been a monstrous ride for the past year, and we hope to go strong for the next 3 years too. I'd like to thank you all and keep listening. And a final question to all of you: what color is your Bugatti?
Which one?